Hi guys, welcome to Twin Perspective. I'm Joe, and tonight I'm going to be reviewing Black Mirror Season 5, Episode 1. The episode is entitled Striking Vipers. I will give a generalization of the series, the episode, and then let you know, and I'll throw in some spoilers. I'm going to try to make it brief though. Season 5 came out about a week ago. I got around to watching the 3 new episodes. And so here we go. Episode 1, Striking Vipers. It stars Anthony Mackie. He plays a character named Danny. And Danny meets and then marries a woman named Theo, played by Nicole Bahari. And Danny has a friend named Carl. And Carl is played brilliantly by Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. Probably pronouncing that wrong. Brilliant performance, though. So Anthony Mackie's the lead as Danny. Danny meets Theo. Danny's friends with Carl. And this episode involves a virtual reality game and how it complicates the relationships. Overall, I think it's a well-done episode, one of the best of the series. A lot of people are saying it's the best of this season. Total spoilers, I've seen all 3 episodes, so I guess episode 1 is arguably the best episode. And definitely, probably one that's going to get that Emmy or Golden Globe consideration at the end of the year. So overall, great episode, brilliant, and probably worthy of nominations should they come its way. So I liked the story overall, but I wasn't keen on the ending. Now I'm going to get into the spoilers. Danny is friends with Carl. They play in video games together. Seemed like they're old school friends, longtime friends. Danny meets Theo. Eventually Danny marries Theo, gets a house of their own. They have a kid. So apparently Danny and Carl don't talk for a while, or not as often as they do or used to. And then, so 11 years later, I believe, Carl shows up for Danny's birthday party, and Carl has purchased the newest version of the video game that they always played when they were living together, Striking Vipers. This one is virtual reality compatible, and Carl ends up giving Danny the virtual reality adapter and everything. So later on, Carl's online, wants Danny to get online. They want to play the new game. It's Danny's first time trying it out. Carl had tried it in the store and really liked it. So they both hook up and they get to going. So it's a virtual reality. They're actually inside the game, and they're the characters that they've always played. Carl has always been this female character who apparently is the best in the game. And Danny is the same character he always is, except this character just seems like plain, like a regular old martial artist. Didn't see any special moves from this cat. So in the virtual reality game, they start to fight. It's just like Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter. Round 1, fight. And Carl's better at it because, of course, Danny's been a family man. He hadn't played the game in a while. Carl kicks Danny's ass in the first round. And all of the punching and kicking and blows you take actually hurt. They don't leave you physically with any bruises. As a matter of fact, in reality, they are just laying there on the couch with their eyes open, barely moving, just holding the controller. No talking or anything. But in the game, they're talking and they're interacting, and every punch hurts. Round 1 goes to Carl. Round 2 starts and fight. Danny seems to have figured out the moves, and he's at least putting up a fight. The two characters end up rolling on the ground. Carl's female character is on top of Danny's male character, and the two characters begin to kiss. Danny stops this after a second and says, whoa, 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 exit game, exit game. Danny exits the game. The next day, he talks to Carl online. Carl gets online. They get on the mics. Danny says, man, I was drunk from the birthday party. I don't know what happened last time we played. Carl said, me too. I don't know. So this time we're going to play, and we're going to fight, and everything's going to be okay. They hook up. They go into their little coma. The two characters are there. The fight begins, and they just start making out. And the characters end up having sex. Now, this is really interesting. It brings up a lot of questions. I think a lot of people that watched it think the overall meaning of this episode is that if you engage in sex in a virtual reality form, that's just as bad as cheating. I didn't get that at all. There's varying degrees to all of it. Okay, so there are some people who are going to think it's cheating no matter what, and there are some people like me that are going to think if you're just having a good time, that's fine. When it becomes a problem is when it negatively affects your partner. Now, Danny's wife, Theo, she's trying to have a baby, and they're on this schedule where Danny has to perform when the app tells Theo that, she's ovulating. They have an hour to do it, and you can tell, it's wonderfully directed episode, you can tell that Danny has lost the thrill, being a stud instead of a spontaneous and being timed and everything else. So I understand why Danny's getting pleasure from playing the game. However, he begins to deny Theo. Like, it's time to have sex, and he says he's tired. And then the next time it's time to have sex, and he's not in the mood or whatever. And then he's up at night while she's asleep playing the game and fucking his friend in the game, okay? That's when it becomes a problem. You service your wife when she's asking you to and you're trying to have a baby. That's what you do. And then whatever you do on the video game shouldn't matter so much. Okay? Now, the woman playing Theo, Nicole Bahari, she did a good job. Except that Theo, in my opinion, got on my nerves a few times. Now, she's pregnant at the beginning, and, there's this, trying to get pregnant and this need to, to do the deed. And then eventually Danny quits playing the game because he can tell his wife knows something's up, and I guess he feels guilty. So he cuts off playing the game with Carl. And they don't talk for like 7 months. So 7 months go by. Now Theo's pregnant, 7 months pregnant. And she mentions that Danny hadn't been hanging out with Carl, and Carl hadn't been coming around. And she takes it upon herself to invite Carl over, which is a really weird situation because these guys haven't seen each other or talked to each other really face to face, really, until they assumed these characters and fucked in a video game. And Danny's really trying to break away from it. He has no desire really to get back into it, except, the way it's directed, you can tell he's still not completely happy. It seemed like his wife was never happy. So I guess I'm supposed to blame all of her problems on him. And like I said, if he'd have been doing his husbandly duties, then I wouldn't have so much of a problem with what was going on. There is another aspect to this sex and virtual reality thing that I'll mention besides just the basic, is it porn and is it cheating kind of thing. But there was a scene when Theo was at a bar. She was waiting for Danny to show up, and this guy hit on her, and she said she couldn't because she was married. then she sits down with Danny, and as she's explaining how Danny's, been neglecting her lately, she mentions that because of her commitment to a relationship that she's had to sacrifice things to, and then brings up the guy that hit on her at the bar. He hit on me, and I'm committed to this relationship, so I'm making sacrifices. That right there was a slap in the face for me. That is absolutely horse shit. Okay? Everybody in the relationship, this relationship is making that sacrifice of you're not fucking every guy that walks up to you and wants to fuck. Well, congratulations, okay? At this point, the only way I feel they're equal, could be on equal footing, is if she played the game too. And she had sex while she was in the virtual reality game. Personally, if I was going to go into a game and have sex, I would prefer not to know who was controlling the other character, because that shit gets weird. It's like having phone sex and you're imagining this beautiful thin woman, and on the other end is somebody completely different. Same thing in this situation. He knew it was his male platonic friend that was playing this female character, and he fucked the character anyway. There's this issue where they're starting to think, because Carl's pretty addicted to it. Carl tried very hard after Danny broke it off to go back into the game and to have this kind of feeling that he had when he was having sex with Danny in the game. But nothing worked. He screwed other characters. He tried to be another character besides the woman. He said he even screwed a polar bear in the game, but it didn't work. No, what was interesting to me is Carl said the way the sex in the game made him feel was better than in real life. And even though he's a man and he has no aspirations of becoming a woman in real life, or even, I would assume in the end he doesn't even have these gay feelings for another man. It's just a feeling in the game of being a woman and having sex was pretty kick-ass for him. Very interesting stuff to think about as you're watching this episode. But eventually their new baby is born, and so Danny and Carl decide to try the game again. Danny falls right into it and has sex again in the game. Carl tells him in the game, as the female character, he tells the male character, she says she loves him. And then that's when Danny backs out of the game and tells him, you got to meet me in real life, the old place we used to hang. I want to meet you there in 5 minutes. He gets out of the game. Carl gets out of the game. Carl goes meet Danny in real life. And Danny says, okay, look, you think you love me, right? So, okay, we have to kiss. We have to kiss man to man and see if this is something we have to deal with and address. It's a funny scene. They finally kiss, and both immediately say, no, I didn't feel anything. This is nothing like the game. So, all right, so I guess we're not gay. We're not in love with each other. It's just we love playing the game, so let's hug it out. And then Danny says he's not going to play the game anymore, and Carl says, you got to be kidding me. And then they get into this fight, real fight. The cops show up, arrest both of them. So when Theo picks up Danny, Danny finally has to admit what is going on. She could tell that he was pissed at Carl during the dinner. And so Danny tells Theo, we don't see the conversation. All three of these episodes in this season end, and then when the credits are rolling, they show you about 3 more scenes, very quick clips, just enough to show you what happens after the fact, the direction in which everything's going. It's basically the ending of the episode. You have to watch the credits to see it. So what happens is, once a year, probably on Danny's birthday, Theo lets Danny play the game. And he can go online and he can play Carl, and he can fuck Carl if he wants in the game. But on that night, while on his birthday while he's playing this video game, okay, she gets to go out and get picked up by some stranger and have sex. I've seen people say that, you know, the message here is that you're cheating on your wife, even when it's porn / virtual reality. Well, the virtual reality thing is what's neat, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people would, if they could, do something like that, have sex in a video game. You're not physically with another person, you know, not physically. There are no exchanging in bodily fluids. There's no chance of catching a disease, okay? And like I said, it's character role playing, which is something Theo said at the beginning of the episode that she enjoyed. It's role playing. But, you know, the way I look at it, I don't even want to know who's playing the character. I don't want to know if it's an old woman or a young man or whatever. I'm just going to deal with the character there. So that's where the catch comes in. If you go into a video game in virtual reality and you're going to have sex with a character in the game, if you know who the person is playing the other character and you're constantly meeting up with them night after night after night and having sex with them, even though it's a virtual situation and they can be any character they want, that's when it starts to feel like it's cheating. So basically, the only way Theo's justified and going out and sleeping with a stranger on Danny's birthday every year is that she feels like he's cheating on her with Carl. And like I said, there's no chance for disease catching here. So to me, it's two completely different things. But if my wife got on every night to play this virtual reality game and she made sure that her ex-boyfriend or the same guy from work is the one she plays every night, yeah, I would probably get jealous of that. So that's my admission. That's the way I look at it. Overall, I feel like the episode ended like horse shit, because even though all of the three main players involved seem like they were at a point in their life where they're all happy, there's still this once a year thing where they get to indulge in their fantasies or whatever. And I really do strongly believe that Theo going out and sleeping with a total stranger is way different than getting on a video game. Girl, if you're going to let me play the game once a year, you play the game after I'm done. And you do that. You're not going to go out and sleep with a guy, total stranger at the bar. I'm sorry, that's not going to work. But like I said, Carl insisted on playing Danny. Carl tried to have sex in the game with other real players controlling the characters, with the computer controlling the characters. He said nothing ever felt like it was when it was Danny. So the fact that they didn't get together in real life as a couple leads me to believe that Carl is not in love with Danny per se. Carl is in love with how Danny plays the character. So basically, Danny's better at sex in the game than everybody else was. Okay, so I guess that's it. That's the way I look at it. This has been my reaction to Black Mirror Season 5, Episode 1, Striking Vipers. Very thought-provoking episode. Like I said, it's one of the better ones Black Mirror's had. Done very well. Directed by the same guy that did San Juniper. So I'm looking for this one to get nominated, you know, when award seasons come up. So there you go. This has been Twin Perspective. I'm Joe. Subscribe to Rosenfield 10 for more videos like this. We cover movies, music, TV. We cover news and politics. Go to playlists. You can find what you're looking for with ease. And I will see you in the trees. Bye.